So part 2 of this lesson, we are now going to apply what we just talked about with parent functions of linear equations with graphs of absolute value functions. Same thing as absolute value equations. Now, when you were in your past math classes, you probably learned what an absolute value of a number is. So if I ask you what the absolute value of -5 is, the answer is +5. If I ask you what the absolute value of 5 is, it's actually the same number. Absolute values are always positive. Always positive. So anytime you take the absolute value of a number, you're going to give a positive answer. When we did our, trying to get a different color here. When we were doing our parent functions of the last ones, this is the parent function we're going to deal with on this lesson and the rest of this week. Y equals the absolute value of x. So, if I put a -2 in for absolute value of -2, you would get a 2. The absolute value of -1, 1. The absolute value of 0, 0. The absolute value of 1, 1. And the absolute value of 2 is 2. We need to graph these points. Down on your coordinate plane, -2, 2, -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. You should still have your ruler handy. The end of the right side is going to go out the corner. The end of the left side is going to go out the corner. And notice what shape an absolute value makes. The absolute value will always make a V. And the thing I want you to remember is when you make this V, the points are always, they start at what's called a vertex, the bottom. Up one, right one, up one, right one. If you start at the bottom once again, you go up one, left one, up one, left one. So there's always this V formation that is formed. Now this one in green is called the parent function. So to the right, we talked about translations. In translations, it's either going to shift up or shift down. So if we look at the first one here, it's talking about shifting up. Remember when it's outside, see how this is outside the absolute value? Well, when it's outside and it's plus, this is going to shift up 3. When it talks about shifting up 3, that means your vertex, that 0, 0 point, is going to shift up 3. So if I go up to my graph here, and instead of starting at 0, 0, we're going to start up here at 0, 3. And then once again, it's just that V pattern. Up one, right one, up one, right one. On the left side, you start at 0, the origin vertex, you're going to go up one, left one, up one, left one. Now you have a ruler, so yours is going to look, whoa, that's really crooked. Yours is going to look a lot better than mine, because I'm freehanding up here. However, it's going to look like that as a V. Now, if it says on the outside here, -4, that means you're going to take your V and you're going to shift the vertex down 4. So instead this time of starting at 0, 0, you're going to go down 4 from 0, 0 and start with your V's vertex. So you go down 4 and then you're going to follow that pattern of up one, right one, up one, right one. Up one, left one, up one, left one. Then you grab your ruler and you sketch your V. Now the thing I want you to write down, for a vertical shift up or down, you look outside of the absolute value. If you notice, let me grab a highlighter here. when you're telling if it shifts up or down, it's on the outside of the absolute value. Okay? You're either going to shift the vertex up or you're going to shift the vertex down. Let me move this for a second. All right. To the right, this is now horizontal shifts. Horizontal means we're moving either left or right. Now this one is tricky. Before we look at these, underneath it, right, this is when you look inside the absolute value. So the first thing, you're looking inside the absolute value. And there's another trick to this. So the first one here says shifts left. And notice inside the absolute value it has +2. But usually you guys think when it's +2 you would go to the right. It's actually the opposite direction. So if it's inside, that says direction, if it's inside the absolute value and is +2, you're actually shifting left 2. Now I know that's something you're going to have to memorize. It is the opposite of what you would think. So what I'm going to do, take that vertex point, go to 0, 0, but now I shift left 2, and I start with my vertex left 2. Then I make that V pattern, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1. Then you grab your ruler and you make your V. Now let me emphasize that again. It's inside the absolute value sign. You have to go the opposite direction. So down below, when it says shifts to the right, inside the absolute value, it says -5. Well, -5 you would think is actually left. We have to go the opposite direction. So this one is right 5. So make sure you put a note. Opposite direction. When you shift left or right, you have to remember it's the opposite of what you would think. So on this one, instead of starting at 0, 0, I would count over to the right 5 and start with my vertex point. And go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. Go back to the vertex, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1, and make my V. So in the front of this note sheet is how you either tell if your V, your absolute value, is going to shift up or shift down. So the last is on the back. And on the back here, this is your dilation. So when you do a dilation, it's either going to be narrow or wide. We talked about this on another sheet. You're going to look at the value outside of the absolute value right here, this 4, and it's being multiplied. So when their number is, put a little note, greater than 0, greater than 0, it's going to become narrow. Narrow. When the number outside is greater than 0, it becomes narrow. So let's put a little XY here. I want to go -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. So if you put a -2 in that absolute value right here, the absolute value of -2 is +2. 4 times 2 is 8. You put a -1 in there. The absolute value of -1 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4. Anything times 0 is 0. And on the other side, it's the same thing. So when we create this V, it needs to be narrow. So we have one at 0, 0. And this time, instead of going up 1, right 1, it says 1, 4. So you're going to go right 1, up 4. And then you do it again. Right 1, up 4. I'll demonstrate that again. You're at 0, 0. And it says go right 1, up 4. And you continue that pattern. Right 1, up 4. You're really at 2, 8. On the left. Left 1, up 4. Left 1, up 4. I'll repeat. Go left 1, up 4. Left 1, up 4. So you're at negative 1, 4, and negative 2, 8. And if you look, this V is now narrower than the original on the front. So if that number multiply is greater than 0, it is narrow. That means down below, we have a half. Now a half is going to be less than 1. So if your value is less than 1 multiplied, it's going to be wider. Wider. So I'm going to make you a quick XY chart here. Negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. I'm going to give you the values that you would put in there. Negative 2, I'm sorry. Let's change these values. Instead of negative 2, negative 1, 0, let's go by 2's. So make it negative 4, negative 2, 0, 2, 4. Negative 4, negative 2, 0, 2, 4. Across from negative 4 would be positive 2. Across from negative 2 is 1, 0, 0, 2, 1, 4, 2. So when we graph this one, it needs to be wider than the original. So it's 0, 0. I'm going to go right 2, up 1, right 2, up 1. I'll repeat that again. You're at 0, 0. I go right 2, up 1, I'm here. 4, 2 is right here. But you're just completing that pattern. Now you're going to do the same thing on the left. Left 2, up 1. Left 2, up 1. And you have a wider looking graph. The last one we're going to do is a reflection. So this is what you have to pay attention on this last one when there is a negative. A negative means you flip upside down. This is going to flip upside down. So instead of your V going up, your V is going to go down. So we start at 0, 0. And instead of going up 1, right 1, we're going to go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, left 1, down 1, left 1. And your V will be upside down. Now that you know the basics, let me explain over here to the right. We're going to practice this, so whoever's in here needs to stop the video to give you some time to try these. But it says, describe the following transformations. So, we go through this real quick, and then you guys can check these answers. This is a negative here. A negative on the outside means it flips. There is nothing inside the absolute value in here, so I'm not going left or right. But there is this plus 6 on the outside. When it's on the outside, it tells you up or down. So this is plus 6. You write flips, up 6. Go ahead and pause the video and try 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then check the answers. Whether you stop the video to check the answers or not, here are the answers. So you want to double check to see if you can understand why it's wide, right 2, and so on for those. Good luck on your homework.